What
I don't
you
know where
do?
the microphone is in the stupid computer. Now, it's a lot of thought goes into this music that I can't play.
Yep, it all evolves around today's show.
You bombed it. You just took that to a new low.
All right, they said radar low. I guess not.
There you go.
We couldn't hear it.
It was radar low for all
I've
of you.
been driving all night, my hands wet on the wheel.
All right. It's Monday.
Monday.
And we are live.
We are.
Tonight's
Evening,
got
boys.
a pretty interesting show, as long as
We
I
do.
don't crash my computer trying to make it happen. So we started talking about LiDAR on the page the other day, and then I started getting questions about radar. So I said, beautiful. I said, radar I know about. LiDAR I want to know about. So let's do a show on radar and LiDAR.
Well, let's do our introductions first.
Well, I will. The pluses and the minuses of radar and LiDAR. And with that, I'll turn it over to Steve.
First off, we got these in the mail by Roger Smith. I want to thank you. I love it.
Thank you, Roger.
It doesn't really wrap all around my body.
That's unfortunate.
I don't think it wraps halfway around your body.
I don't think you could wrap your ankle with it.
But it's nice. It's beautiful. And it was such a surprise. I want to thank you, Roger.
Thank you very much.
I love it. I'm not even going to use that one, Roger. It's too nice. I'm hanging it. And I'm going to use the other one you sent me.
You know, Friday, I get a phone call from Ronnie and his wife.
Uh-oh.
And they're like, we're going down to AC to celebrate our honeymoon.
Anniversary.
It's anniversary. Yeah, that too.
But
oh, I know. They were boozing.
It's always a honeymoon with those two.
So of course his wife, makes it a point to let me know that he spent the real honeymoon with me and Frank the week before at the date.
That's right.
Because I said, did you bring your detector? You guys want to do something? She's like, no, he spent the week before with you, the real honeymoon with you. So, I mean,
she was just calling in case we found out and headed down with detectors.
So I hope you had a good time, Ron. I hope you did.
Yeah, we did. We had a blast down there. It's starting to come around. It's not what it was, but they're starting. You can do things now, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, a little more. Yeah. So
give it a couple weeks.
I hope you had a nice weekend. I mean, just to get out there and relax. The weekend was nice.
Absolutely.
So,
beautiful weather.
Yeah, we had some nice weather.
And I don't know if any of our members were out there, but I did see 2, 3, 4 guys detecting out in front of valleys both days. So if you're watching and you were there, say hello. I couldn't see you from the 42nd floor. My eyes just ain't good enough.
That was me and Steve. We were going to try and kidnap you if we ever saw you come out the door.
Oh, you could. Oh my God! Someone wants to know if I got hair plugs. Yeah. How could you see the beach from the 44th floor? I'm surprised.
Yeah, you could see. No, the visibility was great. Well, we had oceanfront, so.
I gotta say, I made this little post.
Little post,
and it blew up, and it just turned into the funniest thing in the world. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Depends on who's looking at it.
Oh my God! It just went. It went and went and went. And hey, look, we got to have something to laugh about. You know what I mean? Really. And it's funny because listen, that picture was stolen. It was not.
It wasn't on the front seat of my truck.
No, yeah. I mean, this stuff made up. I don't know why.
The one on the front seat of my truck is much smaller than that. So
yeah,
to be honest.
Yeah, smaller. So, all right, this topic is not only kind of about LiDAR and radar. It kind of starts about people doing research, and I want to throw this out there. We got involved with this LiDAR thing because a post on another page was made, and people bashed this gentleman about putting information out there that's going to help people do research.
Like it's corporate secrets or something.
But what got me was, how do I put it? What got me was, they're bashing this guy for putting out this research tool called LiDAR. And
it's not like you're going to go to a LiDAR map and uncover everybody's secret. First of all, you still have to have permissions. You still have to have all the tools. This is just like Steve said, it's a tool.
But I was surprised that so-called ambassadors were bashing this man for putting something on a page. I mean, what about the days when research entailed going to where would you go, Frank? The library or
yeah, I mean,
tax records, you know,
listen, that kind of research has been, thank God, long gone. with the evolution of the computer, thank God. But yeah,
people used to buy books about the Civil War and do their research through that.
Yep.
And these people were mad. Well, somebody told you about that when you started doing the research. What's the big deal that this gentleman comes out and says, "Hey, try this tool"?
And we've brought LiDAR up on the page on the show before. It's not like LiDAR is brand new. It just so happens that this particular map system was literally just released.
But then they start with the complaining that, oh, there's going to be more detectorists out there taking it from. Please. If you know those types of people, we don't need them on our page. So the person was invited here to share it, and it seemed like it's got a lot of popularity. I do want to say that there's certain tools, and for the newbies out there, you might want to copy this down or whatever. Maybe we'll put the links out there. Certain tools you want to use when you hunt.
Pretty much every field that we start with now, every field that we go to now starts with the couple of tools that we're gonna talk about.
Right. I'm gonna let Frank talk about them in a minute, but there's even tools and apps to use for beach hunting. You'd be surprised what people use as research for hunting the beach. It's amazing. Some of the people that really get into doing it. Now, you know how I do research? I go, hey, Frank, look that up. Tell me what's up there. I don't know. But the one thing you want to remember is historic aerials.
Yeah.
Everyone, we're not going to touch on that tonight. We're going to talk about LiDAR and radar.
Actually, we're going to touch on a little tiny bit because some of the comparison pictures are from historic aerials.
Historic aerials is a very useful tool in dating your properties. What it is you go on there and it'll give you an aerial photo like Google Earth, but different years. And it goes back to 1933, Frank?
The oldest ones available on that page is 1929. Most of the ones that we have in our area anyway are 1930 or 31, mostly.
Right, 31. So you can go back as far as the 30s. So what we do when we get a property, especially farms, we go back and we look. What did it look like? What did it look like in 2015? What did it look like in 1955? What did it look back in 1940? Because you can change the years of the photo and you can see the progression of the property of when the buildings were put there, when they weren't there. So remember, it's NETR online, or just remember historic aerials, and that's one tool that you want to use. How
many times have you been out in the field and you pulled colonial stuff, you pulled Civil War era stuff, and it's nothing but a big open field? Well, at least it's limited in that it only goes back to 31 or 29. But if you go back to 1931 and you see a big farmhouse, well developed, driveway system, trails, whatever, odds are it was there quite a bit earlier. And if nothing else, it gives you a starting point. Couple fields that we're looking at now that are absolute barren fields, I'm going to show you a picture of one tonight, is got plain as day with the LiDAR, not the historic. With the LiDAR first, I used a LiDAR and I saw what looked like a foundation. When I went back to the historic aerials for 31, sure enough, there's a huge farmhouse out there.
Sure.
And it was gone. It was gone, probably by the 50s.
And
Yeah,
then
stuff.
you realize you looked like you were on the. You realized you were looking at the wrong property.
Well, that's beside the point. I found another property that I know had a big old house on it. So now we'll try and get that permission too.
Patrick
So
O'Masters mentioned the Sanborn insurance maps.
yeah,
Yeah.
what do they run?
They're
I,
beautiful.
I use them. They're pretty good. What it was they back in the day, they needed to know where the properties were. Like the buildings and stuff. They didn't have them, so the insurance, I believe, it was the insurance companies.
Yeah, basically it was
had
for
these-
fire insurance because if anything caught fire
Right.
back then, everything in the town burned.
Exactly, and they would not know how to respond to where a location was, especially if you're out in a rural area.
Yep.
And those maps are really informative.
Now,
I
the
just
cool
opened
thing about the Sanborn maps, which I think is amazing, especially if you guys are into privy digging, is that every privy for every property is listed on those Sanborn, especially in the greater Philadelphia area. The few Sanborn maps that were down here in South Jersey weren't as detailed as the ones in Philly, but greater Philadelphia area, they listed everything. Horse barns. How many horses were in them in some occasions when they did that, when they did the mapping? So they're a tremendous tool.
Oh, it looks like we got trouble. It looks like Shelly's on the
Oh,
page.
jeez. It's about to get bad.
Stop talking about her. Shelly's on. Stop talking about it.
So there was just another tool I was thinking about too that it just escaped my mind. But I just went online and typed in Sanborn maps, and they're in the Library of Congress.
Yeah.
So
that's
boom.
recent too, because before you had to pay to get a good variety of the Sanborn maps. Now, big chunk of the Sanborn maps are in the Library of Congress, and you can get a lot of them online.
So, unfortunately, though, Frank, the ground penetrating radar, you have to specialize in. There's no overhead pictures or any internet that we can get pictures of.
Yeah, and it's a tool. Again, it's another tool. It can be super valuable to you if you for certain things. But the thing that kind of ticks me off about it is, and there's a lot of companies starting to sell them now. Whichever name.
Sell the ground penetrating radar.
And the thing that ticks me off is they're showing somebody pushing the ground penetrating radar unit, and then look, a silver dollar. Guess what, guys? No. That's not ever going to happen. You're never going to find a silver dollar. You're never going to find coins, small artifacts. You're never going to find any of that stuff with a ground penetrating radar unit, unless the target that you're running the radar over is minimally 6x6 cube.
Yeah.
The radar's not going to see it. Now, if it's solid piece of lead, you'll see it a little bit smaller than that, but it's not for that tiny stuff. You're not digging coins with it. You're not finding that pocket watch with it. It's not what it's for. Now, if you're privy digging, all about it. Think that the unit will find privies like a mother. It's amazing, but it's got a very limited use, and it's great if you're on old houses, and that's your goal. If you're looking for old cellar holes, if you're looking for old wells, if you're looking for old privy pits, the machine works like a champ. But guys, when it started to really become popular, and radar's been around for a long time, guys, but it's only really been popular the past, let's say, 20 years when it started hitting the public market. They started becoming available for sale to the public market. And I can't tell you, I can't even begin to count how many guys hit me up with, listen, if you're interested in a radar, I've got one to sell, because everybody went out and blew, 10 grand on a radar. A lot of guys did, and then realized that it absolutely wasn't what they were looking for. If you're lucky enough to have one and you can keep it as a tool in your arsenal, then, along the way, you'll have reasons to use it. But don't buy it as a treasure hunting tool, because it's not going to find that kind of stuff for you.
Somebody did. Somebody did. I remember.
Listen, if you're cash hunting and you have, first of all, the thing you got to remember is you have to know what you're looking for. So you're not pushing. There used to be a show on. Matter of fact, we had him on our show. I forget the name of the show, but Boom, the Boom guy with And the
Bam or
savage
boom?
guy, the savage dude.
Oh.
And I used to laugh because they used to break out the radar. And first of all, it was the cheapest radar ever made. Secondly, they would be pushing it and it would start beeping over a target. I've been running radar for 20 some odd years, and I have never, ever, ever seen a radar unit that will beep over a target.
Heard something beep. I'll tell you what, though. I've been out with you numerous times and watched you run the radar, and you're going to put a picture up, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And you've tried to explain the screen to me, and I think a lot of people would be interested in that because.
Well, keep talking while I try and pull a picture up.
Yeah. And sure, ground penetrating radar shows anomalies that occur in the ground. And Frank can find out where the ground has been disturbed for the longest period of time. The ground penetrating radar can go down about 60 feet.
The unit that I have with the proper antenna will shoot 80 feet in the ground.
We used it on a property one time that had a escape tunnel for slaves, and Frank was able to find, and we think it had caved in certain points, but he was able to locate that and draw that out for the people. So, and he also uses it to trace tanks, to find tanks underground tanks when people are selling their properties. We used it one time to try and look for a. Hold on a minute. We used it one time to try and look for a. What do you call those? Canister time capsule. We tried to find a time capsule.
Yeah.
And we were unable to locate any of those. And unable to locate the time capsule that was there, but and at some point Frank's going to bring up his photos. The ground penetrating radar usually starts out as a black photo, and then it transforms into the real photo. Yeah,
we're waiting for it to develop like the old Polaroids.
You have to shake it. You have to shake the computer.
It's just going to be a little slow. Because wait, that's different. Oh wait, I found an easier way to do it. Okay, so this is what ground penetrating. This is when you're looking at the ground penetrating. Well, by the way,
he's bombing.
Frozen.
He's bombing. He's killing it.
That actually looks like the ocean from the 42nd floor of Caesars.
Now the host is doing the broadcast. You're bombing, Frank. You're just taking us right down the toilet as usual.
You see it?
No, you froze up.
You're back.
Now. I'm still frozen?
No, you're good now.
Okay.
Wow, look at those burials.
Yeah, I picked this one because these are what a lot of the stuff I do for historical communities or organizations are cemeteries. A lot of old cemeteries. And these are especially old ones that may not be in caskets, that may not be in vaults. This is kind of what they look like. And the fact of the matter is that if you don't go into a job with the radar unit, knowing what you're looking for, okay, you're not going to find anything. It's not a magical machine that it doesn't pop up and say burial, doesn't pop up and say oil tank. This is the kind of stuff you're looking. This is the kind of stuff you look at. And if you don't know what you're looking for in advance, all you know is that there's stuff that could be big rocks. That's all you know is that there's something there.
It doesn't give you an ID number. It doesn't give you an ID number.
No, it doesn't beep. It doesn't
jump up and say,
dead body. No, nothing like that at all. But
now that one on the right, that kind of looks like that could be me laying in the ground.
Yeah, well,
no, I think they buried a walrus over there.
That's the profile pic. But the cool thing about burials are, as much as it reflects off of an item in the ground, it also will show you disturbances in the ground. You can see the anomaly where the ground was moved. And the cool part about that is that you bury somebody 300 years ago that probably wasn't in a casket, and that body's long gone. But cavity, the disturbance where that body was will still be visible. So there's a lot of stuff that'll change, but a lot of stuff that doesn't change. A lot of stuff you can still see. If I go into a cemetery and I'm looking for a body, and I've done that. I've done that with a 1600s cemetery in Pennypack Park in Philadelphia, where we were looking for the founder, and they had bought several $1,000 headstone, and they put it and then we literally found about 10 feet away from where they put the headstone where we found the body.
Question for you. Someone mentioned the Nootka Invenio. So we have companies out there that are trying or claim to be using underground penetrating radar in the form of metal detectors.
Here's the thing, and mad respect for Nootka, because we've had DLEC on the show, and I've talked to her about the Invenio. And she's the first one to say it. She said it publicly. It's an awesome, cool technology that's not quite there yet. So I've seen demonstrations with the Invenio, and the demonstrations are cool. It's not radar per se. It's basically metal detecting technology. It's the similar kind of waves that we use of energy that we use in a metal detector, but it's imaging software. So the reflection that it gets will come up and try to produce an image on the screen. And for very, very shallow targets, it's amazing. Ronnie, you've seen the demo, the Invenio, where they put the key under the mat, and it literally gives you a picture of a key, basically. The problem with that is that in order to produce an image like that, you have to have a very, very strong radio frequency. And as a lot of you guys know with metal detectors, even the best of the best, that signal gets weaker and weaker and weaker the deeper it goes. And even though we may be able to pick up a coin at a foot with a metal detector, at a foot, that frequency is probably not strong enough to produce that image. So now, it's a very shallow machine. The targets that it can work with, it works with really cool, but you're not going out and digging, a 2-foot target with the Invenio, at least not yet. As that technology develops, if it develops to that, I'll be the first one in line for it.
Yeah, IB Neal says it was hard to set up and get it working. So, when you're talking about using it as a demonstration, that's like using an air test on a detector. You're not getting the
exactly
the workings of
it. It's a staged performance to show you what the technology can do, and what it can do is really, really cool when they get to that point. And I truly believe that Nootka is going to get to that point at some time. It's not there yet, guys. You're not digging coins with that thing at a foot deep. You're not digging coins with that thing at 6 inches deep. But
Can you imagine
the technology's there. You're on the ground floor of that technology, and now they got to push. Then now they've got to develop it to the point where we get depth out of it and we get better imaging out of it.
Can you imagine walking on a beach and being able to see a ring under the dirt, under the sand?
Listen, we use the CTX, and a lot of people don't. And I'm shocked at how many people don't realize this. The guys that use the CTX, that on that CTX is a grid, and that grid is indicative of inches or centimeters. And when you have track and trace set up on that CTX 3030, and you get that little round dot and you've got the right numbers, it's actually giving you a relative shape of the target in the ground. It's imaging. I don't want to say it's crude, because it's pretty much the best imaging that we've got in a metal detector so far, but it's actually giving you, you've seen those targets that come up and they're oddly shaped. It's actually trying to give you an image of what it's reading. The deeper it is, of course, the less detailed you're going to get. We know, 1235, 1234, small round target. We know it's going to be a penny. But the cool thing is I've dug pieces of iron that were bent a certain way, and I would get this odd shape on the CTX screen. And sure enough, when I dig it up, this piece of metal is relatively in that shape it was trying to show me on the screen. So that's
like you're saying. I froze again. He's about to say Steve is the greatest guy in the world.
What?
You're back. You're back.
Oh, yeah, because I'm pulling my cord out here.
No, don't.
The cord? You're pulling the cord out. You better plug it back in.
I
You better
did.
plug that cord back in.
I did put my
So
plug on the seat of my truck.
yeah, I mean your machine does kind of tell you what's there for the most part, and that's after the using it and all.
When I go out and I'm looking for a tank, okay, and only because I've literally done probably 1,000 underground tanks. I know in my head what I'm looking for. First of all, I know that I'm looking for a tank because that's why I'm there. Without that information, you're swimming blind. And I know in my head what different gallon tanks will generally look like on that screen. And again, the picture that we're showing you down here is of bodies. They're faint. So they're going to be a little bit more pronounced. They're going to be a little bit bigger. It's going to tell me how deep it is. It's going to tell me how wide it is. And generally speaking, I know what I'm looking at because I know I'm looking for a tank. But somebody accidentally buried a Volkswagen down there, and I'm looking for a tank. I can tell you it's a tank, and it's going to be a Volkswagen. It's not 100%. There's no substitution for actual excavation. But this is the best. Basically, this is the best, most educated guess that you can get.
Okay, so let's move into LiDAR.
LiDAR.
LiDAR. I want you to explain what LiDAR really, really is for these folks.
Hey, hold on.
Uh-huh.
Nothing's quick. I'm doing it this way. All right, guys. So LiDAR is the newest of the technologies. It's not new. LiDAR's been around since probably the late 80s, early 90s. But it's never gotten to the point that it is now. So what LiDAR is it's aerial photography, basically. And what they do is they take a band of laser lights and they shoot them at the ground at 180,000 pulses per second. And it's a lot of the new cameras today use LiDAR. They use LiDAR for ultra sensitive focusing. Shoots these lasers out, it reads the distance, and it'll adjust the camera. Same thing here. What this does at 180,000 pulses per second at super fine detail lasering, it's actually measuring every square molecule of that ground. It's measuring sand particles basically, and it's LiDAR stands for laser and distance ranging. And what it does is the processors will process the speed of the laser and the time it takes to return, and those differences will give you, the altitude, the height of each object on the ground, each square inch of ground, and produce a picture. At the same time, it can eliminate all ground clutter. It can eliminate foliage, trees. It can eliminate rocks on the surface. It can eliminate anything and take an average of the ground and show you the detailed heights of different items, different layers of ground.
Quick question for you. Quick question. Where do they do this from? A satellite?
No. So right now it's done from an airplane.
Okay.
The newest versions of the LiDAR are done from, you can do it from drones.
Yeah, so someone just said drones. Yeah,
And
okay.
LiDAR they want to do it from the satellites. I'm sure that technology is already there at a more of a top secret level.
Right.
But so very, very recently, the USGS, United States Geological Survey, has been compiling this data for 10 years. And it's not the greatest level of LiDAR. There's LiDAR that you can literally pick out a window pane in a pane of a house. It's not the highest level of LiDAR out there, but it's a good level of LiDAR. And they've been collecting this data worldwide for 10, 15 years. And the USGS just recently, in the past couple of weeks, opened up the doors to this data. So anybody can go there and use it now.
And what I'm getting is it shows the contour of the land.
It shows every pretty much microscopic difference in the grade of the land. Does it have its limitations? It has its limitations. If it's a farm field that's plowed 2-3 times a year every season for the past 150 years, a lot of that detail is going to be gone. If it's a smaller farm, I have a farm field out here that's showing something on it that I've never seen before. There's never been a building at this location, and I found 17th century coins there.
Why don't you start showing some of the pictures?
I'll show you. Oh yeah, I'll keep talking. I'll show you what LiDAR looks like.
Now what I've learned is we've got the link to the LiDAR. It's not a normal link where I could say thegolddigger.com, something like that. We got to post a link, but you go on there and you can pop in an address of, how do I put it? You pop in an address of a property you want to look at. You pop that property in, and it gives you a satellite image of that property. Okay. So you start out by looking at a satellite image, and then you have to go into the layers there across the top bar there. You type in the address there. You got a toolbar across the top where you can do certain things, but to get the picture of the LiDAR, and what we found the best is to go in the layer list, and the best one I've found, a drop down will show up on the right hand side, and I like this 3 DEP elevation hillside stretched is the one that
Hillshade
stretched, yeah, which is the one that gives you the best picture. What do you got there? Right there, you've got
this is, I want to show you now. This is a field. This is off of historic aerials. Now, this is a relatively current picture of the field. I think it was 2012, 2013. Just to show you that this is just a plain old farm field.
Right.
And I'm going to bring up.
And the historic
this is what
aerials,
that same field looks like in LiDAR.
Historic areas are great to use. Now, you move into the LiDAR stage, and you can see, look at that front corner.
This corner. Now, when I went back to 1931 on the historic aerials, the farmhouse sitting there. This is a big farmhouse, and the cool thing was this is a trail. It kind of looks like it's a plow line, but it's not. This was a worn-in trail that went all the way out to another farmhouse out here.
Oh, straight up?
Yep.
Now,
straight down the field along this road. This road is a road that's currently in use. The road's been around since colonial. It was an Indian trail at one time. So the road's been there forever, and this was a trail that went out to this.
And as you can see, compared to the other picture, there's a square image down in the bottom left-hand corner, and it's not common. It's not a natural occurrence. This is an unnatural occurrence where a house stood. So now, without this
has been plowed. This has been plowed for that house was gone in the 50s, and it's been a farm field since the house was there. It's been a farm field. So even though it's been plowed, a lot of the differences that you can't see with the naked eye are still there.
And it actually now gives you a reference point of where you might want to start digging on that field.
Now now since this is the road, you can't say the long axis is a road to the right of the field. Along the bottom is another road that's quite right out of view. So that's the front end of the property. So where the back, about 30 feet, 40 feet off the back door of this place was probably a privy pit there, if that's your thing. Yeah. And walking paths, you know where the activity around this house took place.
And you can see the road come from the middle of the square and go towards the top of the screen. So, when you get to a farm field and you don't, like you said, you look at the old historic aerials that may not show something. Now, LiDAR proves that something was there, and it gives you a good reference point on where to start.
Absolutely. In real life, we look at something like that, we know where we're going to start digging.
Right. But in real life, we pull up on there, and Frank will look at it by eye, and he's good at seeing roads and how do you put it, square where houses were and everything else.
Where I think houses were. I mean, that what we're seeing with the LiDAR is what I try to look for in the field. It's sometimes it's pronounced enough where you can see it, sometimes it's not. But with the LiDAR, I mean, there's just no question. We know, I know where a trail coming off this house was, and the house. There's just no question, and you're right there. And you can see pretty much on the rest of this farm field, there was nothing here. This little bit of chatter along the right edge, if you were to go to the real picture of it, is nothing more than trees and brush along the edge of it.
Right. And now what I do is when you're using a LiDAR page, you can click on that. Is it Hillshade again?
Yeah.
and then you uncheck the box, and now you're looking at the satellite picture. So
You'll
you
look at
can,
the plain satellite picture, so you can do comparisons from today.
yeah, you can go from picture to picture and compare, because the LiDAR will show a square, but there's a house there right now.
And
So
one thing you look for, if you're looking for, and I don't have an example of it, but if you're looking at a LiDAR image where there are some houses currently there, the LiDAR image, the squares that are current homes will look perfectly smooth. It almost look like concrete that somebody smoothed out. The houses that are gone will still have that choppy texture to it. So the houses that are still there, you'll learn as you're looking at the LiDAR that their foundations actually do look different than the ones that are gone.
And now Frank and I are just starting to learn this. So it's kind of hard for us to see every little intricate little nodule and notch.
And it doesn't help. It doesn't help that these versions, the versions that USGS has released, are not the ultra high detailed LiDAR images. I'm sure they're going to be available for a fee in the near future.
Now,
because those images are, they can color, you can color code those, and certain things that are different will color code a different way. So you could set up the LiDAR that square would be brown or green or something else, and separate. So it even gives you that much more detail. You could see side images of LiDAR that in this high resolution that'll show you. You'll be able to look at the side of it and see where there was a wall one time.
Right. Somebody found a, what do you call that? Old foundation by looking, and it didn't really look like anything that I would notice.
Here's the cool thing about the LiDAR is, guys, farm fields we know can be manipulated. Guys, they're plowing them, and the more they plow it, the less details available to you. But woods, forest, where there may have been houses and foundations, and this I kind of think is what got the other group a little ticked off at the guy who posted the LiDAR, because it removes the foliage, because it basically gives you a detailed look at the ground. Foundations that in areas that weren't plowed are going to stick out like a sore thumb. You're going to see them like night and day. And the best part about this is that LiDAR is based on GPS. So the starting point of LiDAR is on GPS. Everything is marked GPS. So you can add this map to your locators and pinpoint the stuff that you're seeing.
The LiDAR, now you found maps all over the world. I mean, it works.
Yeah, it's worldwide. It's not 100%, but it's close. I'm gonna pull up another picture of something more recognizable.
Now, the problem with LiDAR is if you've got the backyard of someone's house to look, it's not going to help you. You need it in larger areas, because smaller areas, like populated areas, we'll say suburban areas where there's house on top of house on top of house on top of, the LiDAR isn't going to help you with
exactly.
to look into my backyard. This is more for larger areas, out in the woods, farmlands, or
areas that are just undisturbed. Hillsides that have never really had development on them. Those are the best. Farm fields will work, guys. We found the foundation on a farm field that's been plowed every year. That stuff's still there, and that's 75 years or so. But stuff that's not plowed, woods, hillsides, that stuff sticks out. I'm gonna bring up a picture now. All right, so this is Stonehenge with LiDAR.
Wow. Oh boy.
And wow. The cool thing about Stonehenge, for I don't know how many years, people didn't really know, what it was, how vast it was. These are all stuff that are, I'm going to say, within the past 20 years. These little dots to the left of it are all stuff that's newly discovered past 20 years, stuff that they didn't really even know was there.
And Stonehenge is that circle, right?
Stonehenge is that circle.
Right.
A lot of these little lines, these striations that you see going away from Stonehenge, were roads, ancient roads that they didn't really know existed until they started looking at it with the LiDAR. So it opened up tremendous doors. And not shown in this picture is a LiDAR image way off in the low, what would be to your screen would be the lower right-hand corner off screen, is another circle that they think was basically another Stonehenge that is so long gone that it's no longer visible, except when they do the LiDAR, they see almost a perfect duplicate of Stonehenge someplace else.
Right. Incredible. You're basically getting like you're saying, you're removing the foliage. You're getting a nice picture of the contour of the land.
Yes.
Really is what it is. And you can see the hills and the valleys in the land as it goes. And that's also helpful because low spots, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now,
Exactly. Any difference in the height, the average height of that terrain, any difference, and the better the LiDAR, the more detail you're going to see.
Now, we, of course, we've been talking about how Frank and I just acquired a permission. We went back to the historic aerial. We started with historic aerials, moved into LiDAR, and unfortunately, really neither one kind of helped us in any way, right, Frank?
Not really. And then we also found out from the property owner that he backfilled a ton of dirt in there as well. So that's going to change your terrain a little bit too.
Well, that's not what I'm. Yeah, it's going to change the terrain. But what I'm saying is, the historic aerial didn't show us the first house because it was under trees.
Yeah. Well, we could see where it was. It's obscured by the trees.
We knew because we knew where it was because he told us. So there was an older farmhouse there that had been torn down, and we couldn't see it underneath the trees of the old historic aerials.
Right.
The LiDAR didn't help us anything to see any other, what would you say, intricate parts of the property.
Yeah. Again, there's another square of higher flat ground on the property that we kind of know had to be something at one time, but we can see that with the naked eye. And when we run the LiDAR over it, we see the same thing that we're looking at with the naked eye. So unfortunately, it's not 100%. I mean, there's nothing new. We know where the old house was. We know the old house has to be old because there's a tree on the property that's 300 years old. The cool thing about the overheads was that the tree 90 years ago, the tree was the same size as it is today. It's just, so we know, the tree is ancient.
But even with the tools that we have for research online, we kind of hit a little bit of a dead end. So, also that's another tool people use. Now, listen, another tool. I just want to touch on this real quick, and then I'll get back to the LiDAR site. Is in order to, a lot of people use this. Excuse me, Hunt X app.
Yeah.
Which you can go. You need to know whose property you're on. There's a lot of apps out there like Hunt X that will show you the property, the boundaries,
and the owner. So you know whose property you're on, and you can. I got to pay a subscription for it, and you can log in on the web, and I actually see who's. You match that up to the property you're hunting, also to be sure, because like we said, Frank has kind of miss the property sometimes just by going on there and trying to eyeball from a satellite picture. And if you're wrong, you're looking at someone else's property. Exactly.
So that's another tool that folks use.
And it's and if you find a property and you think it's a great property, now you know the owner, and there's your first step in trying to get a permission, knowing who owns the property.
Oh, that's a good, And then you can also find out if that's public property, if it belongs to a town, state, or federal property, whether because you federal property you ain't hunting on, so you want to know whose property you're on. So once again, when you go to this LiDAR page, you're going to come. It's got a green toolbar across the top, and you got your address search bar all the way to the right. You can type in your address, and when you click on that, if you don't get a satellite image, you want the bottom. You want to go into the layers list and go all the way down to the bottom to imagery and check off that box, and that will give you the satellite image of your property. And usually, by that point, if you've been out to this property, by that point, you can see on the map where you're at. You recognize, hey, this is their property because I see that's their house. Then you want to go to the best one I found was the 3 DEP elevation.
If X Hunt is free. When you get on X Hunt, I think there's a free trial.
Free trial,
they charge you. And I forget what they charge you. It's once a year. It's
like
not a lot of money.
$19, like $19 for the whole year. So then in the LiDAR layer list, you want to go to 3 DEP elevation tinted hill shade, which is really great because it gives you that different tints for the different contour.
Yeah.
And that's the best one I found. And then you just have to really get in there and look for any.
Now the tinted ones, again, because we're not dealing with the highest level of LiDAR. Don't get me wrong, guys. It's higher than anything you're going to available to you, but just know that there are levels of LiDAR that are a lot higher and more detailed. But the cool thing with the tinted, there's a couple of versions on there that'll give you a tinted green screen. And what you can do with that, and I've learned on that, is that look for the white lines. If you're out there looking for waterways, okay, the waterways are going to appear white on the tinted screen, which is awesome. So if you're looking for an old hidden stream or something, there's ways of identifying them too from the images.
And don't the roads come out white too, or
the roads don't always come out white, but the roads will always have very, very detailed depth on either side of them. The trails don't. The trails are pronounced. You can see them. You're basically looking at LiDAR. If you're looking at LiDAR blind, you're looking for stuff that doesn't occur naturally. Okay, so perfect circles,
right,
perfect squares, perfectly straight lines, stuff that randomly or routinely appear naturally, and that's where you want to focus your attention, and that's where you start your research at.
And look, some of them might be very subtle.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, the more detailed LiDAR that I'm sure is going to be available shows that stuff up better. Take a look at the one, the henge, and a lot of these roads weren't visible on the average LiDAR that's out there right now with USGS. Probably some of that's not going to be visible to you, but I'm sure now that it's out there, and now that competitors are going to be out there trying to push their wares, I'm sure you're going to get that higher level of LiDAR. And it's so cool it's coming out for drones. But one thing I want to tell you, don't run out and if you go to Amazon, you're like, oh, I want a LiDAR camera. Don't run and buy a LiDAR camera, because 90% of those cameras, the LiDAR is just used to focus. So you get a really nice camera, but it's not giving you LiDAR images.
Nah, use the tools, the online site. Use Detect America for any questions to post these pages. Someone said in the chat that, oh, people are mad that I'm giving these tools out, but guess what? We're here to help hunters. We give advice on what machine to buy. So, listen, you got a permission. You want to research. Who am I not to tell you how to research a permission? Because guess what? I'm not coming on your permission. Okay, so
exactly.
Even though
just because I gave you the tools doesn't mean suddenly now I can go on your permission and dig your spot.
Or just because you have the tools don't mean you're going to come on my permission and hunt. And if it's public property, well, free game to everyone, just like the beach. Okay, you want tools to hunt the beach, you get them. It's public property. If you're going to be an ambassador of this hobby, you got to be able to help people out in any way. And that's what we are in Detect America. I mean, so you got to help people out. This is it's a new tool. It's not 100% perfect.
My wife made chili.
It's not 100% perfect, this tool, but it's just another tool to add to your arsenal for research. Correct?
Absolutely.
Ronnie, how did you do research back in the day? And I'm not being funny about you being ancient.
You remember when Lincoln was president and you had to research?
So Ronnie, tell us what you would do before internet and research and stuff, because I know you have.
Well, basically what we do is, especially around here now, you guys down in South Jersey, your land is a lot less developed. Up here, it's really hard to find a lot of open space. I'm not saying that there isn't any, like such as farmlands or farm properties, but we basically would look at public parks that were farms that were acquired by the county, and we knew that when they put a park in, that they would knock the buildings down, and those always were good producers because what they were was old farmlands. Now, just I'd say recently, probably as maybe 5, 6 years ago, we had a park up in Ringo's, New Jersey, and basically it's a historical site. It's where the historical society has their a museum per se. But behind the museum, the house is very old. But behind the museum now is a park, and it runs all the way back to the railroad track. So we hunt that property, and we were digging some 1700 large cents, 1790s, late 90s, 97. I even got Spanish silver off of the property. So we basically looked for parks that are now parks that were prior farms. That's the research that
now
we would do.
you being more north, more of a suburb of New York, you have a lot of Sanborn maps available for your areas.
Oh yes, they're all over. I've acquired quite a few of them. It's been a while since I even looked at them, but they are available. I had a guy who worked for me who was pretty good with computers, and somehow he got into the Sanborn map. I don't know if it was the company or it was a state thing, but I have Sanborn maps for the whole state of New Jersey.
Yeah, that's all. I know that there was another company down here, down southern New Jersey, Delaware area that did the fire maps as well. Because when I went to look for Sanborn maps for my town, they're available, but there's not as many. It was more of, I'll give you a block as opposed to a smaller area of homes. They weren't as fine detail as the Sanborn maps that we seen out of Philadelphia and farther up north. But dude, if you guys can get a hold of Sam, and then like I said, USGS has a lot of them now, but they're awesome. They can give you, especially if you're in a more populated area, you're more urban area. The Sanborn maps give you so much detail. It's crazy. The other thing I want to tell you, too, guys are going asking about the historic aerials, guys. You saw the picture I put up that it has historic aerials written across it. It doesn't. That's the free version. If you're really into historic aerials, you can buy. You can pay for the version. It doesn't have any of that. We don't. We use it. It's fine.
So now, Ron, I've heard of people, and you meet a lot of detectives, so you get word of mouth on a lot of things. But I know people that buy books on the Civil War to find areas to hunt, like where some of the trails went through, where some of the inns were. And I mean, that goes back. That was one of the old ways of doing research, correct? You know anybody that's told you about that?
That is correct. Books. I mean, again, I've acquired countless books, maps. I've got topographical, whatever the word is. Topographical maps.
Prophylactical.
I've got, from being in the business, I mean, I had a lot of guys that, they retired and they went to Florida and they don't need them no more in New Jersey. And they would send them to me. I've got amazing amounts of maps and things like that. And, the thing is, you got to find the time to go through the stuff. I mean, it's
and
it's just.
I know, I'm sorry to cut you off. Down in Florida, there's maps of where the 1715 fleet ships have sunk so that you have a reference to maybe go hit the beach and get something that's washed up.
That's funny thing you say that. So, oh God, we got to be going on 10 years or so now. I got a call out from one of the utilities to go do, it was after a storm. It was a piece of state ground down by the Delaware River. Not Delaware River, the down the marsh near the bay. That little, I forget where Reed's Beach is. You know where Reed's Beach is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That river. Anyway, there was a pipe. The pipe had been washed clear, and there was bubbles coming out of it. So that I had to get down and I had to locate it, and blah 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 blah. So anyway, there were sections of this ground that were high and dry, and I asked at that time, I said, "Can I detect?" The guy's like, "I don't care. We're contractors. Do what you want." And I had found a cob. I found a cross that was it was newer than the cob, but it was a reliquary cross and mixture stuff, Indian heads and stuff like that. So I went back later on to research that particular area. because I know the area is relatively historic, and there's actually documents out there that you can bring up on the computer that show the shipwrecks. There was like 47 shipwrecks in that little river from there back to the bay, dating back to the 1600s that they know of. So there's a lot of stuff out there. If you research a little bit, you can find. I would never have dreamed that there was a document of the shipwreck sitting in front of me off of Reed's Beach.
But the only thing back there is Diaz Creek.
This is
that what it's called?
This is Reed's Beach. Nah, I don't know. I have no idea. It was
Reed's,
big enough to have water on it.
The only tribute to they got that marina there, and that's called Diaz Creek. I thought
the water that runs by this area is fairly deep and
well, because they got the marina there. They got the stone wall, and that goes back into the marina, and it goes back past the marina. And I'm sure they got boats back there before.
This had shipwrecks and known catastrophes from that point that I was at all the way back into the bay.
You guys are probably giving up some of our viewers' prime spots here.
I know.
Just to realize can't get on Reed's Beach anymore.
It doesn't matter to me if that's their prime spot. Yeah. Let them call and complain to me.
If Reed's Beach should be dug, I probably wouldn't, just because I know people that still have homes.
I don't think you're getting back there anyway, because it's all mud. It's muck. You're talking muck, dude.
Yeah, especially the area I was digging. You ain't digging, but you're not. It is a private town.
Yeah, and go back there when the bugs are out.
As the families die off, they can't even will those homes to their ancestors anymore. At some point, probably the next 25, 35 years, it will be a state-owned reserve.
Yeah,
there's no construction allowed on it. You're not allowed to dig on it anymore. So, but when
you're gonna sink in that marsh, dude, you can die back there. Besides getting eaten by greenheads.
I pulled a Nazi belt buckle off that beach. That's that stony, rocky, hard beach. I pulled a Nazi belt buckle.
No, good for you, because I ain't going out there.
No, I can't anymore anyway. You just can't go out there. The marshes are ridiculous. The beaches are rock and shell and off limits. So, and
the greenheads will strip you raw. They're like piranhas of the sky, man. I don't do bugs.
We got the mouth of the Raritan River where it goes into the bay.
Now that I heard is a hot spot.
By the Amboys, though. By the Amboys. You have all that chemical dumping that was dumped for years.
Nice.
Carbonundrum, all the... There's guys that go down there and hunt that, and they're finding silver and stuff. But they say when you open a hole, the stench that comes out of there and it's got to be hazardous. Why would you want to even breathe that stuff?
Yep,
it is. It's deadly, and you can sink in that. You can.
Oh, absolutely. The muck.
For sure.
Yeah, that stuff's bad. So I keep my detecting where it's a little safer, solid ground. But so, I mean, there are, I guess it's 9:00, so we'll start getting into our lovely, find some stuff to give away. But
I got something.
There are many tools for research. Ronnie's got something nice to give away. But remember, folks, there's many different tools of research out there for everybody. It's not fair to necessarily keep them from someone who you can help. Okay, it doesn't mean you're showing someone where your spots to hunt is and they're going to come and take your digs. Okay, so, and there's tools for dirt hunting, water hunting, beach hunting. There's all and there's all tricks. And somebody told me one time about one, man, I was like, wow, that's really cool, and I didn't think of it. And that's why on Detect America. That's why on Detect America, we're here to help each other and give people advice. The best advice.
Ronnie's giving away a counterfeit 100.
So now Ronnie's got some little prizes here, and what we're going to do is we're going to give away 5 of those. I was just thinking
about that. Why am I going into my box of prizes when you stole half the prizes out of the box, Steve?
I didn't say I don't have them.
We've got something that's a little fun for our viewers that we're going to give away.
Yep. We have also scheduled our Halloween show, and it's gonna be a good one. October 29th, we will be broadcasting from the Faunt's Haunted Castle. Elaine and Rich live in a haunted castle, and they've giving us permission to broadcast from that haunted castle on October 29th. So we're gonna have a little Halloween show, a little trick, a little treat. We're gonna be if our wives can make it, we're gonna be bringing our wives to the show. And don't look now because my wife still has her costume, her mask on.
No way.
Oh, jeez. So it'll be great. We'll have a good time for that. What else do we have? We got anything coming up on anything at all? Anything for Thursday? No.
No. I'll say.
Just
know. I've got a couple people that are plugged in, but no firm dates yet. We're trying to. I've got a guest from Fisher coming on, but we have to wait a little bit for that. I've got D-Lec coming on, but
we gotta get in touch with her.
Yeah, I reached out, and we're just.
I haven't really reached out to too many guests. I wanted to try and get Kim Fisher. I thought I was so close. We can still try, but you know what? We're doing pretty well like this. We're having a good time.
Yeah,
so
we just aren't. They're probably gonna be. I know we're gonna have a couple on in November, and from there we'll plug them in as they come in.
And I understand that the hunt in Culpeper, Virginia, is this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Good luck to everybody.
I was going to that one, man.
We have got numerous people from East Coast Research, ECRDA on here. A lot of them are going to Culpeper, Virginia for a Civil War hunt. Good luck, everybody. I hope it goes well.
Bone was going on the past few days. I saw KG out there finding all kinds of stuff.
Deep Search is running that event. Deep Search
in Virginia.
They're running that in Virginia?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. So here's what I want to do. I want to spam the chat. Every third person for 5 people are going to contact Ron, and he's going to send them some Halloweeny money. Let me get my.
I don't know if you can see it there. Basically, all it is, it's a
picture of my wife on the front.
$100 bill. And it has a little Frankenstein. There's a little witch flying around in the front. It says $100. Not real. Don't spend it. If you go to jail, that's not my problem.
Not legal tender.
Not legal tender. On the back, you see there's a little witch's house. Looks kind of like very similar to $100 bill.
I was gonna say it looks awful good to me.
Yeah, they do look good, and they got a good feel to them, and just a nice little Halloween gift.
I gotta tell you something. The front of that kind of looks like me. All right, here we go.
Without the wig.
I'm gonna hit go, and then every third person is gonna send Ronnie a message under what, Ron?
Here's what you do. You yell the name out. You yell it out, and then that person just can either Facebook me, email me. I'll have your name, and each winner will get 3 $100 bills.
What real ones, right?
No, the fake ones.
The real fake ones.
The real fake ones.
All right, here we go. I'm going to type go, and the first winner is, of course, Shelly Williams.
Shelly.
Tom Burt Kingery. Tom Kingery. George Wolfbarth. Tom Davis. That's 3. Daniel Jurgens, 4. And Daniel Nelson, 5. Daniel Jurgens and Daniel Nelson. Congratulations, guys.
Okay, guys. Now I got your name. So either Facebook me with your address, and we can drop them in the mail. You'll get 3 $100 fake Halloween bills. And don't worry, we're going to be giving more away as we get closer to Halloween. So you didn't miss out.
Guys, Christmas is coming, and we've got. I am slowly but surely building up our prizes for Christmas giveaway. So we got a couple cool ones that are going to be coming out.
I just pulled off. This is one of my favorite coins.
Can't say it.
A Franklin half.
Ooh,
By our sponsor, the golddiggermetaldetectors.com. You might recognize that name. You see it on here all the time. And I'm going to give this to number 17 because Frank gets mad if I use 15 all the time.
Oh, yeah. 17 is a big difference.
Big jump. Big leap. Big leap.
You know what? All right. Ready? Go. Number 17 is going to get this coin. Elaine, nice to see you. Is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and it better not be anyone in Canada. Chris Hausman, send me a PM with your address, and you are the winner of the Franklin half. Woo. And girls, Shelly and Dawn, make arrangements. We gotta meet up. They gotta come see me. Anything else, Frankie? We gotta detect now. Oh, we're going Wednesday.
We're gonna go Wednesday. Yeah.
We're going Wednesday. So
I'll try and remember to bring your detect.
Could you fix it?
The book has been shipped to.
Oh yes,
Ronnie.
I received it today.
You received what? The edited version?
I got the book. The book came in the mail. I was away for the weekend, so probably came Saturday.
You were away. Where'd you go?
Now, once he gets done editing my typing skills, it'll probably be another month or so.
Yeah, I didn't talk, but I did send him the files that you sent the other day. So he's probably working on
it. Frank, I quickly glanced, and it looks like it's going to be a very well formatted book.
Comprehensive book on the ugly box, buddy.
And we still, we're going to go on the road. Now we keep Staten Island. Steve wants us to go the first weekend in November. I'm game. This guy, listen, he wants to take us out for he's like, I want to take you to 10 different pizza shops, and we get a slice. Listen, I can eat pizza, but I ain't eating 10 slices of pizza.
Yeah, and anybody listening believes that.
Listen, I ain't kidding.
I ain't eating 10 slices of pizza. I'm not going unless there's 20 involved. Seriously.
But I am interested in going to Staten Island and having some really nice pizza. I'm sure we're going to broadcast from this trip. I'm sure it's going to be ugly. I don't know. You have to send Frank a message for that.
I can assure you that once you go and you have the first slice of pizza, you're going to like it so much you're going to want to eat the whole pie.
That's what I mean. That's another thing. I'll be like, give me more of this.
Yeah.
It's
tough to go from joint to joint and different slices.
You gotta have willpower, Steve. One piece per parlor.
But that's time. That really should be.
Like I said, it's all contingent on you guys and who, what, where, when. We got to make. Ronnie, we need you to help do the date because you're the one that does this work thing.
Yeah. Well, like I said,
we don't.
Staten Island's a half-hour ride from my shop, so
it's
not hard for me to get there. You guys got to come all the way up.
We need the gold digger helicopter.
Yeah, there you go.
I was gonna say. Well, I like to go a little. I don't want to go like at night. You guys gonna go at night or something, or?
I think maybe there should be a good, maybe an afternoon deal. Something
an
maybe
afternoon,
on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon or something like that.
Can you able to get out on a Saturday?
I could probably make it work. I'm sure my daughter would cover for me if I had to go on a Saturday.
Frankie and I will roll up there, man. We're right up that turnpike, and we're right in Staten Island.
Staten Island.
We're getting good at that turnpike thing. We only got lost one time that weekend.
And maybe if
yeah.
maybe if Mr. DeFeo comes, he'll give me that recipe he's been promising me for God only knows how long.
The meatballs
The
recipe.
the sauce recipe from his grandmother.
You know what, Gail? Gail's right, Frank. I'm going to drive home with a whole pizza. I'm taking a pizza home with me.
Oh, absolutely. You'd have to.
We're probably going
You
to have to have a couple pizzas from select pizza parlors in New York, in Staten Island.
I also just wanted to mention that the Rachel and
Audra.
their review, they did their review on that Apex. So
yeah,
I didn't get, like I said, I was out of town this weekend, and they did send me a link to their page with the review. I just didn't have a chance to look at it.
Oh, so Rachel and Audra, post it on the Detective America page.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, they got to. And don't forget their shows tomorrow night at 7. I'll try and be there. Tuesday night at 7.
I'll set my alarm.
Audra and Rachel, don't forget our friend Josh Kimmel at Beyond Sight and Sound.
Metal detecting Beyond Sight and Sound.
Yeah. All our good friends out there. Don't forget Greg Papalo at Florida Hunt 7.
Yep.
Make your reservations, guys.
That's going to be a pizza trip, especially when we get into Virginia Beach, baby.
Listen, I got to tell. Oh, Jesus.
Ron, have you ever had Virginia Beach pizza?
I haven't had Virginia Beach pizza, but
take a bite of this.
Yeah, it puts Staten Island in shame, buddy.
There's a real nice Italian restaurant out there. Excellent, authentic Italian food. Last time I went there, last time I went there, the owner was back in Napoli for vacation. But
for those going to Florida Hunt 7, look into Airbnb. I got us a pretty good, I think it looks pretty good spot. We got a house for the 3 of us. It's a 3-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, kitchen, big living room. You're probably we're getting more for our money than a hotel room.
We're paying per person. We're paying less than we paid at.
Oh, we will. For a hotel room.
The COVID arms.
COVID.
Yeah, I got COVID that weekend. That's for sure. And you didn't. And listen, guys, speaking of COVID, it's starting to come back. Consider being masked up, contacting less
enough of the BS. All you got to do is put a damn mask on. Okay.
Put a mask on, but also
if we're all wrong and it's all bullshit,
what hurt?
Nothing hurt.
What hurt? Nothing hurt.
You got a homemade Halloween costume. Put the damn mask on.
Start taking into consideration more precautions now that it's coming back, and it's coming back pretty hard. Also, I just want to say one more thing before we leave, guys. This is pretty serious.
I'm awesome. Stop,
Frank. You're awesome. You guys are both awesome, man. I don't have to tell you that. But two things. First off, Dawn Williams is retiring. She is a captain at her police department, a very prestigious position to have made captain in her career. After 26 years, she's going to be retiring. She is awesome, man. That girl, those two are all hard.
They are destined to have a show.
Oh, no, Jesus.
Yeah, I think it might be a comedy show, though.
A comedy show.
Regardless of what it is, I see online entertainment in their future.
Those two, you know what? Let's try and get them on for Let's get them on for Thursday.
Yeah, we can have them on chat.
If we get them on for Thursday,
she'll just be retired,
and she'll be retired. And you know what? I got to tell you something. My God, they're going to be worse than they could put Howard Stern to shame. So now, listen. Another thing on a serious note, folks. We all have our friends on this page. If you're on here by yourself, it's very strange because more than likely you've got a friend out there. You've got people we know, whether you know them like me and Frank know each other or just through the internet. Let's keep an eye on our friends and keep in touch with them because there are times that people go through rough times in their lives and they don't always reach out to others for certain reasons. They don't want to be a pain. They don't want to lean on it, but they need to lean on people. let's keep an eye out here for each other, please, because I'm getting stories of members of Detect America who are bouncing around on some times and in their life, and they might just need someone to talk to. So let's keep an eye on our buds. You know, you have to. If you haven't heard from somebody, give them a call, because something might be up. Hey, I haven't heard from you. You okay? You know what I mean?
And we're getting into a cold, isolated time on top of this crap that's going around to make situations worse.
Yeah, and listen, I care about everyone on this page. When people call me, I try to make the time for them as much as I can. I try to be here for anybody on this page. If you've never talked to me on the phone and you need something, you call. I'm here. I will answer the phone, whether it's questions for the ugly box, whether you want to talk about Frank behind his back. We're here. We're here. And just remember that you got to be there for your friends. So think about the friends on your Facebook page. If they need some help out there, be there for them. Sometimes you just have to listen.
What?
Huh?
Yeah.
Never mind.
Well, did I ever tell you that's how every conversation with my wife ever starts out? She goes, she's like, "Are you listening to me?" And I'm like, "What? Huh? What?"
Huh? Oh, goodness.
You might think this is a wig, but it's not. This is
Little miracle grow. Look what happens.
I don't like short hair.
Looks like a chia pet.
Maybe I'll take it to Staten Island.
There you go.
I'll look normal up there like that.
Oh yeah.
But so Ronnie, I'm glad everything's going well. You're the man. I'm glad you had a nice weekend in Atlantic City.
Atlantic City, New Jersey.
Let's work on Staten Island. You just let us know when, what time, where to be. We're there.
All right, so we're looking for November, and it's going to be on a Saturday.
In the first weekend. If you want to do, I'd rather do a Saturday.
That's fine. That's fine.
I wanted to take the wives, but Steve's like, "Well, let's just do a boys' day." So we'll do a boys' day.
I think he's got plans.
And I'm like, well, I hope it involves. Listen, I'd rather do a pizza parlor and 10 massage parlors.
Well, actually, I
go to the massage parlor and eat pizza. That's awesome.
He had broke up.
Frank.
He had recently broke up with his girlfriend, so I told him, why doesn't he just dial Rent-A-Gumad, and he can have a date for the night. We don't have a problem with that.
No, me and New York City are bad. I could disappear, and you never know where you're going to find me. Down and out in the Bowery. Remember the Bowery?
Oh, the Bowery. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
They got good food down there, though.
Yeah. You might find me in Hell's Kitchen.
There you go.
They got great food there, baby.
You never know where to find me. But
there's excellent restaurants, though, in New York City if you know where to go.
Yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there. So, another great show, guys. Remember, research. Anything, Ronnie? Say goodnight.
No, I want to say goodnight. I want to thank you all for bringing us into your home once again.
Yeah.
I guess, we do appreciate it. And, thanks for all the support. Stay safe, stay healthy. And I bid you a fair adieu. Good night, everybody.
All right, buddy. See ya. Yeah, there's many people on our page that might just need it. That's nothing wrong with that. And Nancy was saying it's been a year that she was in her head-on collision today. We're there for everybody, man. This is where you got to be. You can't be standoffish.
No, listen, brother. It ain't. Life's too freaking short.
We're all human beings. We're all in need at times, and other times we're all on top of the world. So, with that, I'm gonna go wash my hair.
Yeah, just take it off and throw it in the wash.
Like that, buddy. All right, so Wednesday's the day.
Yeah, I got to touch base with him tomorrow anyway. So yeah, Wednesday will be a day. I'll get the times and stuff.
All right, thanks everybody. Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
All right, guys. Thanks everybody for coming in tonight. And I will probably not tonight because I'm tired, but I will post the links to all that stuff we talked about tonight. I'll post the links to the LiDAR page. I'll post a link to the historic aerials. And I'll see if I can find a link for the Sanborn maps, and I'll get them up on the page and let you know about it. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and we will see you Thursday night.